Good evening to those of you who have tuned in now for our debrief session. This evening we're going to be looking at something that might seem like a little bit of a cliched kind of topic, but it's one I've never seen taught on before, and one that we're finding is more and more important as DewPoint is growing and growing. Naturally, we're getting more and more claims coming into the business, and on a daily basis, our client service team are having to assist people with this very topic: submitting a claim on one of your insurance products. Now, this could either be you as the policy holder submitting a claim on a dependent on your policy, or you as a beneficiary. The policy holder has died and you're trying to claim on an insurance product that they had. And so this is a very important video for you to watch. Make sure that you go through every minute of it. Don't fast forward through it, so that by the end you can have the most pleasant and rewarding claims experience with us. That is our goal, ultimately. You know, that is what the insurance industry is in the business of. It's of paying claims and propping up our industry and our economy. That's what, that's what the insurance industry does. When there's disaster, we hold the economy up. And so making sure your claim is paid efficiently, effectively, is what we want you to learn how to assist us in this evening. So the topic for it this evening, we've called it Submitting a Claim Successfully. Let's dive into the details. Now, probably the single most important thing when claiming is actually understanding the product you have or the policyholder had. 9 out of 10 times when someone calls in and does not get a claim paid, it's because they didn't know what they were covered for. So the very first thing you need to do whenever you purchase a product is understand what the product is covering you for. When you understand it, then you can progress with the claim without frustration or irritation. Once that's the case, then you just need to understand the process of the claim. If you understand the process beforehand, you don't get frustrated in the middle of it. You see? So that's what we're going to be looking at tonight. Then you've got to follow the process. And I'm going to show you this evening how to follow the process. Because you may understand the process, but if you don't do the process, well, that's when the bottlenecks occur and things slow down. Then we're going to look at fraud and misrepresentation with claims and how that affects you. And then we're going to look at how you can make your claim process faster through the system. Important things. Watch to the end and learn as much as you can this evening. So we're going to start with understanding your product, folks. Have you read through your policy documents? That question is answered no in 99% of cases. DewPoint goes out of its way to show you and to give you your policy documents, starting with the actual documents themselves. When you take any one of our products at any stage, even if you're a wealth engineer for 6 years and then add a product, we immediately email your policy document to you. We then drop it into your app. We're going to look at that in a moment, so that you can find it anytime you like, anywhere in the world. You can find your policy documents in your app, and then we put it into our website, our My Account section. So you lose your phone overseas. You're overseas, you've lost your phone. You can just get to a computer, log into our website, and your policy document is there. So we make all of this available to you. But not only that, we then make training videos on your policy document. There is a product launch video for all of our products. Go dig it up. There is a full review video on every one of our products, including on our website. So if you go to products and select a product, you'll see the review videos there. Again, anywhere in the world, any time of the day, you can watch the review video and understand what you're covered for and what you're not covered for. And then we have an FAQ video, a frequently asked question video, on every single product. So not only do we put the solid document in front of you, we also spend time explaining it to you and working it through with you in doing through the videos. So you're saying, well, that's great, Brendan. I don't know where to find any of these things. Let's take a look at that quickly. I want you to have a look with me this evening. We're going to open up your apps with me. You can start getting your app out in the meantime with me. And then I'm going to bring up my phone on the screen, and we're going to go and look at that. Right. So, right now on the screen, all you can see is the app. That's fine. If you've opened your app, it should look exactly like this. Where do you find your product document? Well, you go to the top left-hand screen. See my name at the top there, Brendan? Directly below it is 3 white lines. We call that the burger menu. If you select that burger menu, it opens up the menu. All right. And what you find in there is My Products. Do you see it? It's about 1, 2, 3 line items down, and it too has 3 black lines next to it. Push the 3 black lines, and it opens up and it shows you all your products. So if you're looking for your policy document, there it is. You're going to select now the one with the arrow. Yours should have an arrow. If it has a hammer, it means it's lapsed and you need to reinstate it. But push the arrow, and that will open up that account. In here, you find all the details of your product. But most importantly, right at the bottom, you'll see their plan documentation. That's your product document. You will find this under every product. If you push download now, you see, it gives you all your documentation. And you can push terms and conditions, 2 down. That's your product document. You push terms and conditions, and look at that. Wham, presto. There's your product document for you right there. Every one of our products has that facility for you in it. Okay, so that's where you find the product document anywhere in the world 24 hours a day. But where do you find the videos? You're going to go to the bottom right-hand corner where it says Tools. You're going to select Tools. Do you remember this? There's that Getting Started I mentioned in every introduction presentation. Next to the Getting Started, you'll see a little down arrow. Select the down arrow, and a whole lot of video menus come up. Do you see that? And about 3 from the bottom, you're going to see Products. Select Products, and you've got live Q&As on every one of your products. Look at that, live Q&A for Access Wealth, for Family Wealth, for Heritage Life, all the way down. And if you go past the Q&As, look, there's even a Q&A on our services. Look at that, Motor Medic, Q&A on that, including Road Assist. Okay, you can find the Road Assist. Now, if you go down a little bit further, you'll see that there it goes back to Access Wealth, and now it goes Product Access Wealth In-Depth Review. So you can watch any one of these videos. If it's your product, you scroll down until you find your product, and you can watch the in-depth review on that product where I talk to you about terms and conditions and waiting periods and what you're covered for and what you're not covered for. It's all right there. Okay, so you got it. You know where to find it now. No excuses. When you call in a client service, even as a beneficiary, I hope that your policyholder shows you this video so that you know where to find it and you know what you're covered for. All righty then, let's go back out of there. I'm going to come back to my phone in a minute. But for now, no, that's not it. I want to go to there. All righty. Okay, so now you know where it is. Now you can start to understand what the product is that you have. That's super important both for you, the policyholder, and your beneficiary. What's a beneficiary? The beneficiary is the person who gets your benefit when you pass away. Every one of your products should have a beneficiary listed. There's some that it doesn't apply to, but most of our products requires a beneficiary. Make sure yours is registered. We're going to talk about that a bit more in a moment. All right. Understand in your product what the benefit is. So we get people who'll call in and go, that personal accident investment thing, how much is in my personal accident investment? That is meaning you've never understood the product that you've purchased. Once you've watched the review videos and read the document, you'll understand what the benefit is so that when you claim, you know you're claiming for the right thing. Okay? You'll understand the waiting periods. Every product's got its own waiting period. So if somebody dies within a waiting period, there is no cover. If you claim during a waiting period, you get a very disappointing answer from the insurance company. They say, but he's in the waiting period, he's not covered. Okay? But if he's outside the waiting period, then you get a much more pleasant answer from the insurer. Yes, his waiting period's done, he's undercover. So to save yourself that frustration, understand the waiting period before you claim. Understand the conditions of the cover. What was required in order for you to have cover? Here's an example. Heritage Life doesn't cover pre-existing conditions. So if the person has cancer, takes out Heritage Life, and then dies from cancer, they're not covered. So if you go to them and say, oh, but my dad died and I want the life insurance, you'll get a disappointing answer. Understand what the conditions of the cover are, then you don't get disappointing answers. Who is covered and who isn't? Really important. Family Wealth, which is our funeral cover, you can only cover family members, not your friend you call Sissy. She's not undercover, even if you load her on the policy. You're following me? So understand who is covered in the product and then understand the payment requirements. What payments needed to be made before cover came into place? That's similar to the waiting periods, but sometimes they can be different. When you understand these, you have a much more pleasant experience. Now, if you don't know this, you can at any stage call client services. We've got a client service team. Call them in and say, on my policy, I'm not certain. Can you tell me if I've completed the waiting period? They'll answer it for you. That's what they're there for. Instead of trying to claim and then discovering that you're in the middle of your waiting period, okay? If you are the beneficiary, contacting our client service team is your first step. Contact client service, say, my dad's just passed away. Can you help me understand the product that he had? Excellent. Client service will say, no problem. I'm going to send you links to the videos. Here's a copy of his policy document. Go watch, go read, then come back to me with questions. They'll help you. They are the way. So importantly for you is to find out who is the listed beneficiary on your product. Because we can only deal with the beneficiary, otherwise your payment goes into your estate, okay, which can delay things. But if you've got a listed beneficiary, we deal directly with your beneficiary. So find out who's listed. If you think you're the beneficiary, you can only confirm it by calling client service. So call them and find out who's listed as a beneficiary. And then find out who's listed as dependents. For those of you with a funeral plan, for instance, you can take 5, 10, or 15 dependents. What is a dependent? That is an individual you've recorded on your policy that if they die, you get the benefit. Okay, the funeral cover. Make sure you know who's listed. In our DewPoint app, you can see under product who your dependents are, but if you can't find it, call client service and establish who the dependents are on the policy. Okay, now understand the process. The insurer wants to pay your claim. This nonsense that is always in the newspaper about how insurance companies are not treating their customers fairly and not wanting to pay claims is nonsense. And now I can prove it factually. 2022, Ombudsman for the short-term industry. This is the regulator. The regulator said that at the end of 2021, there were 4.3 million short-term claims last year. 4.3 million South Africans claimed. There are 64 million South Africans. That means 1 in, if my maths is right, 19, 11, 12. 1 in 12 South Africans claimed last year. So in this room alone, there were 3 people that claimed. If you use that statistic. That is insanely high. That is insanely high. 4.3 million claims were received last year. Of that, the insurers made the correct decision on 99.967% of those claims. So if we are making the decision on 99.967% of the claims, does that mean we don't want to pay the claims? No, it means we are going out of our way to ensure we are 100% accurate in the processing of our claims. That is an incredible statistic. Can I tell you that of the 4.3 million claims in 2021, the OSTI overturned 1,300. 1,300 of 4.3 million he felt we'd made a mistake on. What is that as a percentage? It's 0.033%. So I think that we can get rid of that nonsense of the insurer's not this and the insurance. Oh, it drives me mad. You must see how I tackle people at Bryce. Oh, the insurer doesn't want to pay my claim. I'm like, boof, he does. You're lying to the insurer. Make your claim experience better by knowing your product and knowing the process. It's not the insurer that's inhibiting your success. It's not. It's not the insurer. Remember that. Okay. Now, the first thing you want to do is you want to alert the insurer when there's a claim. Don't wait. When we get a claim 180 days later, 270 days later, it's a problem. It's a problem. You want to alert the insurer within 48 hours. Yeah, but I was really sad. I know you were sad. You don't have to process the claim. Just alert the insurer. Pick up the phone and say, my mom just died. Boom, you tick that box. That's step 1 of your process done. None of us can hold it against you from that point forward. You see what I'm saying? Alert the insurer within 2 days of the event, okay? Each product has its own contact procedure for a claim, okay? I'm going to help you through most of them, but you're going to find that process mainly through the DewPoint app. So for most of our products, it's just the green button in the product that allows you to call through and claim. You think of MediGuard, MotorMedic, what's some of the other ones? Sorry? Legal Guard, exactly. You go into your product, you push the dial button, it takes you straight through to the claim department. Super, super easy. Others are a little bit more complicated. Some you need to look through the policy document just to see what procedure they want. Super easy. Every policy document has a claims section. Just go to the claims section, they'll tell you what to do, okay? And some of them you contact us directly. So Access Wealth, Wealth Guard, Heritage Life, Family Wealth Funeral Plan. You just call client service and we'll start the process with you. So we help you through this by outlining the process in the policy document and through our training videos. We talk those in-depth reviews of those products. Even in there, we tell you how to claim. So go and watch those videos. Now following the process, okay? While some products are going to have a list of claim requirements in the policy document, others are not. Others are going to require you to do extra things. Think about our MediGuard. You go to the dentist. The MediGuard policy document doesn't tell you what to do about the dentist, okay? All you need to do, step number one, is contact MediGuard. You're going to click the dial button. They'll tell you what to do. Some of the stuff will be in your policy documents, but some of it doesn't. So like even today, I had a lady call in. She said, yes, but that's not in your policy document. But there's a line item at the bottom of the policy document that says, and anything else that DuPont requires, okay? We're not limited to the list in the policy document. We try and be as comprehensive as we can, but every case is different, and sometimes we need something specific, okay? So don't get yourself hung up on that. Each product's requirements are different, naturally. Therefore, again, contacting the insurer is your critical first step. We might have a list of things in the policy document, get a hold of Bridget or Anna, and they'll say, great, let me get you the full list for your particular set of circumstances. All right. 4 products where you have to contact DuPont directly. So at the present, when this video was filmed, it's Access Wealth, Wealth Guard, Family Wealth Funeral Plan, and Heritage Life. For those 4 where you have to call directly, we have done something extra for you. We have now made 4 specially developed training videos for you on each one of those. They're all less than 8 minutes long, and they show you everything down to the documentation required and how to fill the forms out for every single one of those 4 products. From tomorrow morning after Jane gets here, so look at about 10 o'clock on, she's very late, she's in 3rd warning already. When she comes in tomorrow, she's going to load onto the DuPont app these 4 training videos in the product section. Remember, we went to products where the FAQs were. Now next to each product will be another video below it that says how to claim for Access Wealth, how to claim for Wealth Guard, how to claim. You're going to find those tomorrow morning. But tonight, I'm going to show you one of them right now. Claiming on an insurance benefit often comes at a traumatic time. We hope that this video will assist in making the process of your claim as efficient, as quick, and as easy as possible. In order for you to have the most pleasant experience in claiming with DuPont, do these 3 things. Understand the product that you're claiming on, understand the claims process with DuPont, and then follow the process as we outline it. In order for you to understand the product that you're claiming on, make sure you've read through the product document. If you're the policyholder, you would already have received this. A copy will be in your phone app and in your My Account section on our website. However, at all times, whether you're the policyholder or a beneficiary claiming, you can always contact our client service team and they'll provide you with a copy of the policy document. To assist you in further understanding the product, on our website you will find review videos for all of our products. They're relatively quick, they're easy to watch, and once you've watched them, you'll understand the terms and conditions and what you can and can't claim for on every product. Your starting point and ending point for any claim you wish to make is DuPont's client service team. Contact DuPont's client service team to establish whether the product was paid, whether the waiting periods on your particular product have been completed, who the recorded beneficiary and dependents are in our system, and where there is no beneficiary recorded, get whatever details are required in order to have the claim paid into the estate of the deceased policyholder. These are the 4 steps you need to do to complete a claim with DuPont. Firstly, contact DuPont's client service team and obtain a DuPont claims form. Follow all the instructions on the top of that form. Also follow any additional instructions that the DuPont client service team give you. And then submit all the completed and certified forms back to DuPont's client service team. If you're claiming on the Family Wealth product, you're either the policy holder or a beneficiary claiming on the policy holder who's passed away themselves. The Family Wealth product has two benefits within it. The first is funeral cover, and the second is an outstanding debt cover benefit. In order for you as the beneficiary or the policyholder to claim on Family Wealth, the policyholder must have listed their dependents on the policy before passing away or before the dependent passed away. In addition, the policyholder must have listed a creditor to enjoy the benefit of the outstanding debt cover. If you're a beneficiary, simply get a hold of DewPoint's client service team and they'll confirm these details for you. In order to claim, the policyholder or the listed dependents must have completed the waiting periods on this product. That's either first payment for death via accident, 6 payments for death via illness or natural causes, and 6 payments for the outstanding debt cover benefit. Where these waiting periods have been completed and our client service team can confirm that for you again, then you can claim on this policy. These are the forms that you will receive and the forms we will need to receive from you in order to process your claim. DewPoint's client service team will provide you with DewPoint's death claim forms that need to be completed in totality, and at the very top include all the instructions and list of documents that you will need to submit to us. Make sure that every field is completed on all these pages. Where you can't fill them in, make sure you add an explanation as to why not. Throughout the forms, you will find places where signatures are required. Please ensure that no signatures are missing on any of these forms. DewPoint's medical questionnaire will need to be completed by the attending medical practitioner or by the hospital. Ensure that they too have signed and stamped where appropriate. DewPoint's banking details indemnity form will be required to be completed by the bank into which the funds will be placed once the claim has been processed. Again, ensure that they are properly signed and stamped. The first set of documents you'll need to provide for us are naturally the death certificate of the individual you're claiming on, as well as a certified copy of either their ID or ID card. If it's the ID card, we need both a copy of the front and the rear of the card. Then we need a copy of the ID certified of the claimant. The second set of documentation that you will need to provide to us, you should be able to obtain from either the hospital, the funeral parlor, or Home Affairs themselves. And these are the notices of death and the burial order. The two notices of death that we will require are labeled DHA 1663A. As you can see, it has 3 pages. We will require all 3 pages. So when you obtain them from either the hospital, the funeral parlor, or Home Affairs, please insist on them providing you with all 3 pages. These pages need to be certified, stamped, and completed correctly. The second notice of death is the DHA 1663B, page 1 of 1. Notice the difference from the first notice, which was 3 pages and was labeled A. We are looking for B. On this page, you'll be able to see the cause of death, and again, it needs to be stamped and certified. The burial order, also labeled the DHA 14A, is also required, completed, stamped, and certified. Where the deceased died from an accident, we'll require the following additional documentation from you. We'll require a police accident report form. It is 4 pages long, and all 4 pages need to have been completed. In addition, we will need a statement from the investigating officer at the scene of the death. The statement is generally handwritten and is stamped by the SAPS. Please note that until such time as the investigation into the death of the deceased is completed, we will not be able to complete the process of your claim. Keep working with the police to ensure it is done as fast as possible. In certain circumstances, we may require a post-mortem report from you as well. Our client service team will instruct you where applicable. Where no beneficiary is listed on a policy document, the claim benefit is paid into an estate's bank account. For this, we require from you a letter of executorship that has been stamped by the High Court and signed. We will also require a letter of authority, again stamped by the High Court and signed. We will also require a copy of the executor's ID. If it is an ID card, then a copy of the front and the rear of the card, certified, and a 3-specimen signature added. The bank will have to provide you with an estate late confirmation of bank account details into which the benefit will be paid. Note that it is correctly stamped and signed. For the family wealth funeral plan specifically, proof of relationship is required. This is to ensure that only family members are being covered by the policy in terms of its conditions. In order to prove to us your relationship to the deceased, you can provide us with marriage certificates, birth certificates, or a detailed family tree affidavit. This is an affidavit that demonstrates all the relationship connections in order for us to have sufficient evidence of your relationship with the individual. Please note that affidavits that are cryptic or devoid of detail will not be accepted as proof of relationship. It is important to note that while the vast majority of DewPoint's family wealth funeral plan claims are paid within 48 hours of receiving all completed documentation and requirements, on occasion, these claims can be flagged on fraud databases. Where this happens, an audit will commence on the details, the documentation, the people, and the circumstances of that claim. This can delay your claim by up to an additional 5 working days. This does not mean, though, that your claim won't be paid or that the insurer is trying to delay payment. It is simply part of the process of ensuring that all our policy holders are kept safe, including you. Because every claim is different and the circumstances around every claim vary, we may ask you on occasion for additional items, additional documentation, or we may even need to interview individuals or do on-site visits. Simply follow the instructions of DewPoint's client service team and we'll make the process as quick and as efficient as possible. Alrighty. I don't think I can get any more detailed than that. I really don't. I am holding your hand through the process there. There is a video like that for each one of the 4 products we currently require you to call in on. And you would have seen there, first of all, the flow is the same as what I had explained beforehand. But very importantly is the fact that we need those exact things. If you are not able to provide those exact things, it delays the process. So be sure to, firstly, alert beneficiaries to your product while you're alive. If you've got an insurance plan, let your beneficiaries know. They know where it's filed in your house or wherever you stay. They know where to find it. And you've educated them on the product. If they do understand it, then they are able to expedite the process themselves when you pass away. If it's the family wealth funeral plan and you've got dependents, make sure you've got everything loaded up. You would have noticed that every time you added a dependent in our app, it asked you to submit proof of relationship. So again, we had a lady calling today. Why are you asking me now for proof of relationship? We didn't ask you now. We asked you the moment you added that dependent to your funeral plan. We said, please submit us proof of that relationship. Remember, it's the family funeral plan, not the neighborhood funeral plan. Okay? So it's not your friends. We get people to say, we think we share the same dad. We think? So he could just be some random guy. Unfortunately, particularly with funeral plans, so I'm going to talk about it a little bit just now. We get into the fraud. There's a lot of fraud around it. So be proactive. Before you pass away, make sure that we've got proof of residence, proof of relationship for all your dependents on file, ready. That means that when you come to claiming, your beneficiary or you don't have to go and find them again. You've got it sorted out. With regard to an affidavit, that's when you go to the police station and you make an oath before the police officer. Most of the time, it's not worth the paper it's written on, some of the stuff we see. People are just blatantly lying on it. But nonetheless, my dad might have had this guy as his son too. That is not an affidavit. We won't accept it. The other ones, we share the same dad. That doesn't help me either. An affidavit that proves relationship is an affidavit that says, this was my mom, her name and surname. This was my dad, name and surname. They had me, name and surname. We will be able to, and then you might need to do more. You might need to then say, my mom died, and then there was the second wife. And then you might need to put that in to connect to the cousin or the nephew or the niece that's your doing. You're going to have to put all of that together on the affidavit for us so that we can know the relationship. It's often we'll get a death certificate that doesn't have the same surname as you. So we need to know why the surname's different. So show us the tree of relationships that leads to you. Be detailed, and your claim process will be instantaneous, or just about. But if these are not there, it's going to be a problem. Now you might be probably going, oh, but I haven't got all this stuff. That's why you've got all the time in the world. Start now. Get it done now. Get all your proof of relationship docs in now. Then when it comes to claiming later, it's not a problem. See what I'm saying? All righty. And this is not just for Due Point. These requirements are not Due Point requirements. These are industry-wide requirements. So if you've got a funeral plan somewhere else, go and look. In the policy document, it will say proof of relationship. Okay? So make sure you do it for all your insurance policies, no matter who the insurer is. Get on top of it, right? So let's talk about fraud and misrepresentation. It's very dependent on product, but some products can have up to 80% of the claims submitted being fraudulent or misrepresented. That is a real fact. Motor insurance and funeral cover being the two highest and most fraudulently claimed on products in the country. Why? Because we have an alcohol problem in South Africa. We do know that, hey? 99.9%. Oh, there's Eskom. We'll wait for the generator to come on. Those of you on the broadcast are still live, I know, so you're just seeing a black screen. But let's get back into that. 99.9% of accidents in South Africa are caused because the driver's got alcohol in his system. Whether he's drunk or not is a different story, but there's alcohol at play. Now, with family wealth, what we find is that the funeral plans, not family wealth, funeral plans in general are used as ATMs. So in other words, people go, I want my funeral plan, because when my friend down the road dies, I want to withdraw 30,000 Rand from my friend's ATM. Okay? So they'll put the friend on, they'll call him brother. We know that often. We've had it before where they go, no, but you know, like in our culture, he's my brother. Well, a cultural thing, this is a biological product, okay? So if he's biologically your brother, then I'm happy for him to be on the plan. But if you call him brother because he's been your best friend since you were 2 years old, he's not on your plan, he's not under cover. But in South Africa, people are doing that. They're loading on just people, and when they die, they say, I've paid my 299 Rand a month, I want my 30,000 Rand now. And then we go, who is this person to you? No, she's my sister. Great. Can you give us proof? No, I don't have any proof. All right, well, what are you going to do? No, I'll get you an affidavit. She's my sister. Sign. No, you can't do this, because you know why we can't do that? Because if we pay everyone the 30,000 Rand funeral cover, there's no money to pay the policyholders. All the money has been burnt up. And those of you who legitimately claim on family members won't have any money left to pay on. Do you see what I'm saying? So if a person is not biologically your family member on the list that we give you, and the list is very extensive, even stepbrothers and sisters and stuff can go in, then you will have to remove them. Remove them now and replace them with a family member. We're not an ATM machine, particularly for funeral cover. So when you call in and the ladies say, prove to us the relationship, do not get upset with them. That is a very standard step with funeral cover. I had a lady the other day who said, but my cousin lives on the other side of the country from me. How can you expect me to get those documents from her? That's not our problem. You had the whole time until now to get everything in order. So go and get them in order now in advance of your claims. All right, let's see if we can fire up that projector again. And there we go. Let's see if that fires up in a minute. It's probably got a cooler bulb. No, there, it's coming on. All righty. So super, super important. The steps that insurers take are not there to delay your payout or not to pay you. They're there to protect you, the policy holder. You, the policy holder. All right, so let's take a look at that. So I've said most of the stuff. So now, where on occasion we have to do more work for you, just accept it. Get on it, answer the questions, provide what is being asked for, and your claim will move through very quickly. Okay, we might ask for more documentation. We might need to visit you or visit the police officer or whatever and do on-site inspections and reviews. And we might on occasion have to use external parties. Particularly with fraud, we generally contract to fraud specialists. Be aware of it. Be ready for it. It's not an indictment on you. It might just be part of the process. Okay, all right, so I want to look here. With most of our claims, paid out within 48 hours, we know that. But if you are flagged for fraud, and that's not you personally, it could be the funeral parlor, it could be the hospital. Just this week, we had a case where both the funeral parlor and the hospital are on a fraud database. You know it will automatically go to a further investigation. That generally adds up to 5 more working days to the payout. All right. Now, people will say to me, oh, but I've got to bury my mother. I understand that, but I have to protect thousands of policyholders. Okay? And that one weighs up more heavily, all right, than this process. Okay, so just understand we're going to do extra work and it can take up to 5 days longer where you are flagged on a fraud database. If you're not, it's no problem. No single claim is the same. Every claim circumstances are different. So you need to know we will have to customize our process with you on occasion based on your circumstances. All right, so here's a couple of fraud red flags that can slow your process down. Remember, what we want to do is we want you to move as quickly as possible through the claims process. So these are red flags you want to avoid, because the moment you do them or say them, a flag goes up in our system and the process slows down. Okay? So you want to avoid these. First of all, unlisted beneficiaries and dependents. It's going to slow the process down. You saw what you need. If you don't have a beneficiary listed, there's a whole lot of extra documentation you require. It's got to be stamped by the High Court. That's not 48 hours. Now you're talking months, okay? So make sure right now that you've all listed your beneficiaries and your dependents. At the end, I'm going to show you again in your app how you do this. You do it right through your app, but you can also go through our client service team. They'll help you with it. Make sure you've got a beneficiary and a dependent. What's a beneficiary again? Beneficiary is the person who gets the insurable amount when you die. The dependent is somebody that when they die, you get the benefit. So on a funeral plan, you put dependents in. When your sister dies, not Cece, your actual sister dies, you get the money. Okay, that's what you want in there, all right. Incomplete documentation. You saw all the documents that we laid out and showed you. If there are parts missing on those documents, the whole process grinds to a halt. We have to get back to you. You have to take the same document back to the hospital, back to the municipality, back to... So when you're getting those documents filled out, make sure there's nothing missing on them. And if there is something missing, there must be an explanation. Okay? Sometimes it's not applicable. That's fine. Right, not applicable. But you've got to make sure that every field is filled out. Anything that's incomplete is going to slow the process down. Anything that's missing. Again, it's a massive red flag when we get this, all the documentation back, but the death certificate's missing. Why is the death certificate? Oh, no, I couldn't get the death certificate. It's the first thing they hand to you. It's like when you give birth to a child. I was still in tunnel vision mode, and they were giving me the birth certificate, you know? Like, it's the first thing they give you. So when it's missing, red flag. Why is it missing? And then when there's excuses, oh, you're just not trying to pay my claim. Okay, now you've just added 5 days to your claim process. Do you see what I'm saying? So make sure you hand in all the documents that are required, like the videos will show you. You'll see from the video what's there, and make sure it's in. Make sure they're all signed, make sure they're stamped, make sure they're certified. We often get documents in that haven't been certified. Gee whiskers, these days you can get things certified anywhere. Get it certified, get it stamped, and then you'll make sure that it moves through the fastest. Other things, probably the worst things you can do in slowing down the process is accusations. You know what accusations are? The lady Bridget calls and says, I need from you, and you just start pummeling her on the phone. You just trying to steal money from us. You've been taking my mother's premiums. Now you're not going to pay. That doesn't speed the process up. Bridget now goes, red flag, audit. Why? Because what we've learned over decades of doing this is that's how the fraudsters push the claim through. I don't know if you've ever watched that YouTube video of a guy getting passwords changed for bank accounts completely illegally. It's very funny, like hackers. And the guy calls into the bank's client service team, and he puts on his computer a baby crying, a newborn baby crying. And the crying recording gets more intense and more intense. And it's a lady on the phone, and she's like, I'm so sorry, I'm trying to put my kid down, and my phone says I've got the wrong password, and I can't get into my account. And she starts, and they build the pressure, and the baby's crying louder, and the client service lady's all like, no, I changed it, don't worry, I changed it. What do you want your password to? And she's in. Other person's bank account, she's had the password changed. Okay. Now, what do the fraudsters do when they're trying to push a claim through for the brother down the road that's not actually his brother, but just his best friend in crime? He gets on the phone, he starts shouting at the client service team. And what does he say? He says, my other insurers already paid my claim. Do you know how, like we just don't care. You know, like when you tell me another insurer's already paid, that's not helping you, buddy. That's not helping you. Why do you require this? No one else has asked me for this. That's never true, because the documentation is standard across the industry. It's standard. That's how the municipality knows what to give you. That's the you saw the DHA 1663A and B. Those are the two standard forms. All insurers are going to ask for it. There's nothing new, there's nothing fancy about it, okay? So don't say that, because now we know that you are potentially a fraudster. So we have to put you through more rigorous process. If you don't say these things and you go, no problem, ma'am, here it is, your process just starts moving. It just starts moving with us, okay? I'll complain to Hello Peter. I'll take you to the ombudsman. I'll put you in the newspaper. We're in the newspaper all the time. We're at the ombudsman all the time. These are not things you can intimidate us with, but they will put the brakes on your claim. So don't say them. Just go, no problem, Bridgie. What else do you need? Do you need that? Anna, I'll get it for you, Anna. And that process will just move. It'll just move. Okay. Why are you taking so long to pay my claim? I'm not taking long. You're controlling this process. There was a lady the other day. She called in the morning. We sent her the list of documentation. She supplied the documentation by lunch. By 1 o'clock, she was paid. She'd called in at 8, and by 1, she was paid. What? Why are you taking? We're only taking long because you're red flagging us, okay? You're just looking for reasons not to pay out my claim. You say that. You want to annoy Bridget and Anna, who work so hard on compiling these claims packages. You say that you can see the steam coming off of Anna's head. Okay, no, we're trying to pay the claim. That's what we're trying to do. We're desperately trying to pay your claim. You're in control of the speed at which we do it. I live far away from the deceased. How can you expect me to obtain these items? It's not a matter of distance. It's not a matter of anything. It's a matter of requirements. So again, teach your beneficiaries up front before you die where your documents are, what they need to do, show them the claims video, so that when you do pass away, they're like, okay, bang, bang, bang. You do live in another province, but I got all the documentation before you passed away, etc., etc. Plan ahead, be proactive. Okay, those are things that are going to slow you down. A few more things that are going to slow you down: refusing to supply us with documentation. We've had that before. I am not getting the medical report from my doctor. Really? I'll give you a lovely case. We had a case a while ago where a husband had died in a car accident. And we were looking at this accident and going, this seems like a very weird. It was on an on-ramp onto a highway, and the guy had hit the barrier and had gone through the windscreen, and we were like, wow. Okay, it was the on-ramp. It wasn't like he was on the highway. He was like going on to that. So we said, can you please give us a post-mortem toxology report? We wanted to see if there was alcohol in the system, because you'll know in all of our policies, you cannot have alcohol and drive, you know. Refused. So eventually, after about a year, we managed to get the toxology report from the hospital. True as Bob, guy was drunk as a skunk, didn't have his seatbelt on, you know, and so it's not undercover, okay? The moment you refuse to supply something to us is a red flag. We know there's something else going on. So you can say, listen, I haven't got that document. Where can I get it? And Anna will say to you, oh, go to the municipality and ask them for it. That's not a problem. But if you go, no, like this particular lady said, I'm not giving you my husband's toxology report. It was Pooza Thursday night, man. You know, she knew. She didn't need a toxology report to know what was going on. It's going to be an issue, okay? Cryptic or insufficient proof of relationship. I've already mentioned this. We want detailed family trees, otherwise marriage and birth certificates. Getting a third party to call us to demand payment like a police officer. We've had police officers call us. Do you think that's going to speed your claim up? I don't care which police officer calls us. We've literally had police officers call us and say, no, you will pay this lady's claim, and we've said, no, we will not. Remember, this is a contractual issue, not a criminal issue. They have no jurisdiction over contractual. That's what we have to do. Or you get your mother to come and scream, or your father to come and scream. I've had all of them. I've had them shouting at me on the phone. They're not even interested in hearing what we have to say. They just wanted to vent. Okay? That will not speed the claim up. It is very likely it'll go to full audit then, because these are tactics that fraudsters use to pressure the insurers into paying claims they shouldn't, which is detrimental to you, the legitimate policyholders. See what I'm saying? All right. So these are the things you can do to make it go. So do these things before a claim arises, okay? Before the claim, let's do the right steps. Step number 1, ensure that you've recorded all your personal details. So go into your app and make sure we've got your email address, your cell phone, your physical address, all your details, make sure they're in place, okay? You can do it directly through your app. I'll show you in a minute, okay? Number 2, ensure that you've recorded all the details of your beneficiaries. If you've got a product with us and you haven't recorded your beneficiary, record it tonight. In your app, go to the product, say add beneficiary. And don't put the name in. I need the name, the ID number, the date of birth, a contact number, an email address. I need all of those things so that I know who it is when they call in. I can go, tell me your ID number. And they go, give me your cell phone number. And okay, right, you are the beneficiary. Let's move forward. You see what I'm saying? Go and do that. The same with your dependents. On your family wealth plan, make sure all of our standard ones come with 5 dependents. Go and add the 5 dependents, because when someone passes away and they're not on the list, they're not covered. They're not covered. People have said to me, no, but she's still my sister. Yeah, she's not on the plan, she's not covered. So get them on. And again, ID number, telephone number, relationship, fill all the fields out, and it speeds up the claim process. Otherwise, it's just slowing things down. In our application form, you can skip past the beneficiary and the dependents. That's a bad idea. If you know the details of the beneficiary, fill it in the application form so that you don't even have to do it in the app. If you know the dependents, fill it in as you're filling the application form out, and it'll already pre-populate for you. Okay. All right. Provide due point with your FICA documents. Before you die, give us your FICA documents, your ID, proof of residence. You can upload it directly through our app, or you can email it to client service. Again, that's already some of the documentation in place and ready for your claim. You see what I'm saying? Get your ID in, get your proof of residence in now before you have to claim. And you're going to speed the whole process up for you, okay? And any proof of relationships, get the documents in now. Go and get your detailed family tree affidavits in, or your marriage certificate, or your birth certificate. You go, no, well, we don't have these. Well, you've got all the time now, between now and whenever somebody dies on your policy, to go and get those documentation. You don't just need it for insurance, incidentally. You should have your birth and marriage certificates just for general life. Go and get them ready, have them lined up, and upload them to us. For each of your dependents. This is my sister, here's the proof of relationship. This is my brother, proof of relationship. Upload them through the app or send it to client service, and let's get it in the system. And then when you claim, it's already there. It's already there. That's how. 8 o'clock in the morning you submit the claim, and 1 o'clock you've got your payout. Is because you were proactive. Before anyone died, you had all the documentation. And again, as I said, this is not unique to Due Point. Any insurer that you have a policy with, make sure they've got all of these details, and it'll speed your process up. Okay? Ensure that your product is paid. This is, I mean, it's heartbreaking for the ladies when they get a call in to say, you know, my sister died, please can I claim? And they go, but you haven't paid for 4 months. You haven't, your policy's lapsed, you know. Then it just, you know, and then they're devastated. And even the ladies, they take it badly, okay? Make sure your product is always paid. People say that insurance is a grudge purchase. It is not a grudge purchase. When you have to pay for a family member's funeral, you are not begrudging the 299 Rand you paid for a few years. You're not begrudging it. When that 30,000 or 40 or 50,000 comes into your bank account, you are super happy you had that product. And the same with your life insurance. If you pass away and you know you're able to leave behind a few million Rand for your family, your children who've lost a breadwinner can now go to school and university and feed themselves, that is not a grudge purchase. Again, it's the nonsense that we read in the press. It's the nonsense. Insurance is your number 1 purchase. It's your number 1. When we've done the 3 golden rules of creating wealth and managing your wealth, rule number 3 is protect what you have. And that's what you do with insurance. It is a wealth rule. So make sure that you never fail to pay your insurance product. When you do, make sure that you respond to our messages. We're going to SMS you if you fail to pay. We're going to put a notice in your app if you fail. Respond to it. Get your payment re-raised. Get it in. Otherwise, you're losing your cover, or potentially losing your cover. Okay? Make sure that you do that. Okay? On time every month. Number 5, ensure that your beneficiaries have a copy of your policy and understand how your policy works. Teach them. You're going to have these videos from tomorrow morning. You'll find them on YouTube as well. You can send them links. Say, watch this. When I die, you follow this process, okay? And you send them a video, okay? Understand the claims process and what are they going to be asked for. So that they don't call in and cry about it. Because we do. They get in. Oh, I don't want to do that. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, this is the standard process. Don't cry about it. Just do it and we'll get you paid. Okay, so make sure they understand the claims process as you guys are now. All right, let's jump now quickly onto our daily benefits. So those are the 3 services. They're not insurance products, but they're services that you get. How do you use these services with us? Well, Medicall, first of all, is the nurses, doctors, and specialists that are online for you 24 hours a day, okay? What you can't ask them for is medical aid treatment. Now, we get that. People are like, I called Medicall and they weren't a medical aid. Yes, surprise. They're not a medical aid, okay? You can't ask them to pay for your medicines. They don't pay for your medicines, okay? You can't ask them to pay for the ambulance. What they're going to do is they're going to tell you what to take, and they're going to call the ambulance for you and send it to where you are, but you're still going to have to pay for both of those things, okay? It's not medical aid. And you can't ask them to come and visit you. I called the doctor, he didn't want to come. No, it's a telephonic service, okay? They're not going to come to you, all right? Legal guard, all right? Legal guard is not for pre-existing cases. We had a lady the other day, took the product, made her first payment and claimed. And the lawyers went, this was a case that existed before. No, it's not. I want to start the case now. No, man, your house burnt down 10 years ago. We can't help you, all right? For everything, with most insurance products, after your first payment, an event can occur. Anything before your first payment is generally not covered, okay? And this isn't even an insurance product. This is a service, and it says pre-existing is. So don't become a wealth engineer so that you can sue a guy, because they won't be able to help you, okay? Pre-existing. A lawyer in the room with you. Some people are like, no, the lawyer won't come and be with me in court. No, he won't. You want this, you take our Legal Guard product. If you take the Legal Guard product, then you get a lawyer, and he'll sue anybody, you know? So, but with Legal Access, it's that phone call, it's that service you get for being a wealth engineer, okay? And to pay for your lawyer, they're not going to pay for your lawyer. And to do illegal or impossible things. We had this awesome case a while ago where a lady was caught shoplifting, she pleaded guilty, and the public prosecutor said you can't have bail. And you'll know that with Legal Access, they'll come bail you out for 5,000 Rand. And the JP, the CEO, went to the court and argued with the prosecutor, and the prosecutor said, no, she's guilty. She can't come out and bail. Well, this lady was so angry that they wouldn't bail her out. She was like, Dew Point's a liar, and da. And JP was like, I can't break her out of jail. You know, I can't do the impossible. The public prosecutor said there is no bail for you. Okay, so again, they can't do that. So again, understand your product. There are review videos on all of these services. Then you know what you can ask for, and you're never disappointed. Okay, last one. Road and home emergency services. That's pretty important. I went into the product document and I actually extracted. It said road assist emergency and home assist allows for the assistance with unforeseen, unexpected events which require immediate attention by a service provider. Okay, this is not a burst geyser. A burst geyser, you turn the mains off and you're fine. Okay. An emergency is a burst geyser that's pouring water into a DB board. And your whole house is sparking. That's when they're going to come out to you. So what they say, I asked them to clarify, they say effectively an emergency is where lives are endangered. Lives are endangered. They're coming out. You've got, so for instance, security is an issue. If you've had a car drive through your wall and smash through your patio glass wall, they're going to come and they're going to help you clear out the wreckage and get your glass back in your doors to keep you safe inside, okay? But where there's a water leak in your garden, they're not coming out to fix your water leak. That's not an emergency. Shut the water off. Or if your DB board keeps tripping, just turn your DB off and call an electrician. Nobody's lives are being endangered here, okay? So it's an emergency service that they're giving. And it's amazing what they'll do for you. And it's amazing what they cover. First hour of labor and some of the parts. It's thousands of rands worth they'll help you with. But don't call them with something that's not endangering lives. Wear and tear items are not covered, okay? And where there's damage, that's not it, unless it's endangering lives. Then you know that that's an emergency. Okay, it's just a broad, easy definition to use, okay? And then you won't be disappointed. But I'll tell you, they are a fantastic service. I've only heard good stories about how they've really helped people out. Even with DB boards that have been exploding and stuff, they've come and sorted them out. But don't be surprised if they go, that's not an emergency, just call your electrician. Okay, that's fair enough. They're not there for just general electrical and plumbing. All right, so now that we've got that on there, I want us to jump back into the app again and look at a few things in the app again, just so that you know exactly where everything is. All right, let's go back there. You will remember we were here earlier. This was where the videos are. Now, incidentally, these 4 training videos on how to claim that will be out tomorrow morning about 10ish. We're going to put them in here too. So where would you go? Let's go all the way to the top again. Actually, I'm going to go back to channel. So this is your normal default. You click on tools in the bottom right-hand corner, and you're going to click the down arrow, and you're going to select products. Once you've done that, you'll now see a little further down where it goes the in-depth review here. It'll go Access Wealth, in-depth review, and then the next video down will be how to claim on Access Wealth. Okay, and then you'll go Family Wealth and how to claim on Family Wealth. So that'll be in place from tomorrow. That's awesome. Now let's take a look here. So you'll see my name at the top left-hand corner. You see the 3 white lines. We're going to push that. That's the burger menu. We're going to open up my products. Some of these products, let me take a look. They're like Legal Guard. You'll see it down at the bottom. I can't open it because it's not active on my app. But if you select Legal Guard as one of your products, you will see the following. Okay, you will see a green dial button at the top, just like this one. And that green dial button is who you call to claim. Okay? For Access Wealth and Wealth Guard and Family Wealth and Heritage Life, you need to call Dew Point. But for all the rest, including MediGuard and Legal Guard and Motor Medic, you will find that green dial button in the top left-hand corner. Click it, dial, talk to them. They'll tell you how to claim. Okay. Now, if we go back quickly to here, My Services is directly below My Products. Okay? You'll see it line number 4. Click on My Services. These are those 3 services you get as a wealth engineer. Whether you have a product or not, you get these 3 services. Once you've made your first payment and not before, your dial button will go green at the top. That's the button you dial to call for assistance for either legal, or let's go back, or medical, or road or home assist. Do you see that? Okay. For road assist, remember you need to register a vehicle. Once you've registered the vehicle, your green button at the top will work. Okay, you got it. Now, what I also wanted to show you in here was, I have to remember what it was. It was on the tip of my tongue. I wanted to show you. All right. Oh, yes. All right, let me see if I can do it. Go back, loading your dependents and your beneficiaries. Okay, that's what I wanted to show you. Loading your beneficiaries and your dependents. I said to you, make sure your details are all in. This is what you're going to do tonight. You're going to go to your product, whether it's Access Wealth or Wealth Guard or Family Wealth or Legal Guard, any one of these, and you're going to click on any one or all of them. And when it opens up, you'll see, what do you see second from the top there? Add or edit beneficiary. Do you see it underneath investment notice? Says add or edit beneficiary. Click on that to add or edit your beneficiary. Once you've clicked on that, you put in the name, the ID number, date of birth, telephone number. I want all the details. And then you click Save at the bottom, and then it'll go saved. And now it's on your record. It's on your record permanently. I can't show you on this particular app, but if you go into Family Wealth, just below Add Edit Beneficiary, you'll find Add Edit Dependent. That's to add the family members you want on your policy so that when they die, you get the benefit. Okay? Go in there, Add Edit Benefit, and you add one, and then it says add another, and you add another, and you'll see it says supply proof of relationship, supply proof of relationship. If you can't load it through the app, just get a hold of client service. They'll help you. You can email it to them. They'll load it into the system for you. Okay? Alrighty. Do you see how easy it is? We put it all in your app for you. And then, of course, you can change your own personal details under Edit My Profile. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4 from the bottom. Edit My Profile, My Account, Preferences. Go into those menus and change your own personal details. So we have your right cell phone number and your right email address. All of these things are going to speed up the process of your claims so that within hours you paid, not within weeks. All right. Last thing just to remember is that, let's go back into here and change that out. No, let's see if I can get that right there. Last thing I want you to remember today as well is that the bigger the claim, the longer it's going to take for us to process it. So for Heritage Life, you can have up to 5 million rands worth of cover. It is a life insurance plan. It's not a funeral cover. which means it's going to take a few days for us to process. We'll have to interview the doctors. We may need to interview police. Things like that will delay it. Small claims, like a 20,000 Rand funeral claim, we can turn around within hours once you've given us all the correct documentation. So be aware, the bigger the claim amount, the longer it takes. It's very natural. That is not, sometimes we have to get a hold of our reinsurers, the guys who underwrite us, and they need to give permission and do audits and things like that. Don't panic. Don't accuse, because that slows things down. Just be cool. We are working as fast as we can to get you that claim paid out. We are. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, that is how you claim successfully, not only at DewPoint, but anywhere in the insurance industry. I hope you enjoyed it. Go find those other 3 videos. They'll be out tomorrow. Have a watch through them, and you'll know beforehand what you need to have ready. But start tonight with your own details, your beneficiaries' details, and your dependents, and get your beneficiaries trained up. Get them trained up, and you will succeed in getting your claims through quickly. Lovely. All right, so I'm going to do a bit of Q&A with you now on anything that you've seen in this presentation, and if I didn't get to something during the intro, you can ask that as well. But I'm going to give you the opportunity now to ask me any questions about this, anything around claiming, insurance products, whatever. Here's your opportunity to ask me. The same for you on the broadcast. Where's my phone? There's my phone. If you're on the broadcast, put your questions into the chat and let me answer your questions this evening, and we'll go from there. I think Stacey's already got one from Blikkies. Can I add my kids to the funeral plan while they live abroad? So, Blikkies, no, because if they die overseas, they're not within the jurisdictional legislation that we have. So we're allowed to cover somebody up to 3 months outside of a country. So if you go on holiday for 3 months, we can cover you because you're coming back. But if your kids live overseas and die overseas permanently, they can't be on any of your South African policies. Okay, so unfortunately that is a legislative limitation. To be one of the contractors they call to come out and assist people. Okay, Blikkies, contractors that they need to just call directly to the insurers. We don't deal with that, so they can call Constantia directly or Santam if they want to work with them. All righty. Okay, so those are the 2 questions I've got so far from the chat. Did any of you have any questions you wanted to ask around claiming, products? And any of you online, I'm going to give you another minute or 2. Type it up and send me your questions. Or were we clear tonight? Did we get it all through? Yeah. No, unfortunately with FICA, you don't even want to get me started on that, but you need to do that quite regularly. But like a copy of your ID, you can get that up straight away. That doesn't change, you know. So get your FICA ID up and give us a proof of residence. Often it's like a rates bill. Get it up now anyway, just in case something happens in the next 12 months. Yeah, when it comes to claiming, we're going to have to ask for it again, you know, an updated version of that, unfortunately. Yeah, and FICA's getting worse, eh? Or 3 months, yeah, which is a bit more lenient. But but FICA is getting worse. The new regulation that's coming through on the FICA side, you won't even be able to drive to work in the morning without being FICA'd. It's driving me crazy, but you know how I feel about all of this. But yeah, no, but that was a good question. Okay. Anything else? You guys are all comfortable and happy? Paul, yeah.
What happens if, for instance, your daughter or your son is living with you and they have a policy for 5 years and then all of a sudden they're now in with them? Does the same apply?
Yeah, no. So Paul's question is you've got a daughter who's been living in South Africa. She's been on your policy for 25 years and she leaves the country permanently. You're going to have to take her off the policy. You know, if it's a permanent move, can't be covered. Legislative limitations. Yeah.
So that's your loss.
No, it's not your loss. No. You got to watch Insurance 101. No, you got to understand Insurance 101. So first of all, with our products, beautifully, you can add family members without changing your premium. But even if you paid your premium, it's not a loss. You don't pay insurance to be paid out. You pay insurance just in case you're going to be paid out. And that's something South Africans really battle to understand. So when you have motor insurance, it's just in case you have an accident. If you don't have an accident, it's not a loss. You paid for the other guy who had an accident. But if you have the accident, the other guy who didn't have the accident is paying for you. So it's never a loss. So people often say to me, oh, what happens to my premium if I die from natural causes, not an accident? I'm like, your
People are making business out of it. Like, okay, I told my family.
Yeah?
Then you find when is the funeral time,
that girl or the daughter is refusing with a death certificate, now you can't come and claim the money. You see that drama, many things.
So whose problem is that? Is that the insurer's problem or is that you as the insured's problem? See, and that's where the confusion comes in. So the example here is like you put people on, but then you can't get the documentation from them when they die. That's not our problem. That's the insured's problem. So what I say is start now. You see, what happens is you wait until the person's dead, then you try and get the documents, and then it's like months and months and months and months you're not getting back. Start now. Get the documentation in place. Find out, submit your proof of relationship. Get all of that in place. Bang. When it happens, it's smooth. Smooth sailing. Okay. Yeah.
What if you are married?
Yes.
Then maybe you covered everything, you covered
Yeah.
your wife or children. Then
Yeah.
suddenly it happens, you separate.
Yes.
And then she got all the documents. Then
Yeah.
you get a new wife.
Yes.
And then she's the one who got the document. What's going to happen to me?
Yeah, now you're in trouble. Okay. So we're getting all these random examples. So I was married, then my wife left me with everything, and I got remarried. Now she won't give me the documents. What do I do? That's not the insurer's problem. Imagine if we had to cater for every single person's circumstances. So plan ahead. Be proactive.
Like my question is, what about the old wife? If she come and claim everything,
Yeah.
she got the document.
If you left her as the beneficiary on your policy, she gets the payout.
But now she's telling the new wife
Yeah.
to bury you.
Yeah.
She claimed everything.
Yeah. So again, whose problem is that? Whose problem is that? So now the example is, okay, now you've left the old wife on as beneficiary. She gets the money, but she tells the new wife to bury you. Okay. You see, that is again not the insurer's problem. Okay. That's your problem. So sort it out. Okay. Don't call us here at our client service and say, can you please sort my marital issues out? It's not something we can do. And again, it seems very cultural in South Africa. They shout at Anna and Bridget, oh, blah, 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 blah. It's not our problem. Okay. So be proactive. If your wife leaves you, call the insurer and say, take her off as a beneficiary. Take her off and put it in. Don't come back later and cry. Okay? Change it. Be upfront. Be proactive. The same thing as Donnie always goes, people don't have a will. And then when there's no will and there's no beneficiary, we have to put the money in the estate. It goes to the executor. It can be years before it's paid out. It can be years. Do you know how long it'll take you to knock up a will? Call Legal Access. They'll help you. They'll send you a template. It'll take you 30 minutes. 30 minutes, you got a will. Now what happens is even if your beneficiary is not on the policy, we then have to follow the instructions of the will. The will says pay second wife. We pay second wife. You see how much being proactive changes everything. Shouting at Anna and Bridget slows everything down. Do you see what I'm saying? Because your personal, my cousin died in the northern province. I can't get there. It's not our problem. We are protecting tens of thousands of policyholders. If we just said, oh, no, it's fine, and we just handed the money out, there'd be no reserve. And then when you came to claim, we'd say, the money's gone. The money's gone. We're not here to not pay. We want to pay, but we must follow procedure. So start beforehand, get half the procedure done beforehand, and you're good to go when a claim comes in. Yeah, Bev?
Brendan, does family wealth cover a life partner? Does it have to be a husband or a wife?
So it's quite broad. You'd have to go and look at the definition. So the question is, does it cover life partner? Bev, get married. It says, does it cover a life partner? Go and look. There's actually quite a detailed definition in the Family Wealth Product Plan. I don't even remember all the details of it, and it actually does cover like a life partner. It's quite detailed, though, about how that falls in. Yeah. It does even cover your in-laws. Hey, so you see, yeah. No, the list of family is long. The list of family members is very long, very comprehensive, but you need to be able to prove it. You can't say, no, she's my sister. Show me that she's your sister. Okay?
Only one that it doesn't cover is if you're friends of Barry Hilton and he's calling you cousin.
And that's right, my cousin, exactly, my cousin, exactly. So it works on both sides, exactly. That's not going to be covered. So absolutely, that's good. Let's see here. I've got some questions online. Hey, you see, we had to just warm the crowd up. Now it's coming. All right, Kevin, the documents that needed to be filled in like in the video, can they be obtained before a claim? Basically, can one have a pre-file with all the necessary documents? Kevin, we can give you the due point claim files, forms. They do change, though. Not regularly. I would say once every 2 or 3 years they change because regulation changes, okay? So if you called in, the client service ladies will send you our documents. The 1663A and B is what you get when the person dies. So we can't give you that up front. But you can start by getting copies of IDs of your executors, copies of your will, copies, all of that sort of stuff you can start with. And we can, of course, give you our current claim document. But again, it might not, maybe you claimed 5 years from now. The ladies might go, look, we're not using that form anymore. You've got to use this one. But it could help your thought process at least. You could line up as much as possible. So that's nice proactive thinking. Well done, Kevin. Lunga, if I'm not married and let's say my partner that I live with dies, can she be covered if I put her in? No. We don't cover girlfriends. We don't cover fiancés. There are very clear definitions about tribal marriage, obviously, we cover, and traditional marriage we cover, and illegal marriage. So if you go to a court and get married, we'll cover that. But your girlfriend, we're not covering your girlfriend. Okay? It's family wealth, funeral plan, not neighborhood wealth. Okay? All righty. So read the definitions in the policy document, and it'll be clear for you. Arena, Brennan, just to confirm, you mentioned at roadside it should be an emergency on appliances and plumbing electrical. We had a pipe that burst on Friday night. They helped us. Was that not supposed to be just to make sure we're on what you say? You know, Arena, they're amazing. They are amazing. They come out for flipping everything. But I want you to know that if you call them and they say it's not an emergency, don't cry. Because what they're actually meant to cover you for, the service they're meant to provide, is an emergency service. If they choose out of the goodness of their heart to come and help you, score. So it doesn't hurt to call. Call and say, look, I've got this issue. They might come. But if they say, listen, that's not an emergency, call your plumber. I had it this week. Letters, hello, Peter, newspapers, because the sprinkler's not working in the back garden. You know, so no. So just be ready. If they say, no, it's not an emergency, don't be upset about it. But, yeah, you can try. I mean, if they come, they are fantastic. They are a really, really fantastic service. We do love them. Paul?
They cover ovens, that's an emergency. Heaters as well, but they do not cover what.
Yeah, no, naturally, yeah. So, like, if your oven is blowing up in your house, they're going to come and help you because you can't feed yourself. But, yes, we had that. Yeah, I think you tried. Paul called in and said, hey, my washing machine's broken. They were like, no, we're not coming out for your washing machine. Wash your own clothing and your own dishes. Yeah. All right. Yeah. That was an emergency. Hey, the dishwasher broke. That's an emergency. No, I'm joking. So, you know. All right, Johan, can you only choose one beneficiary? No, actually, look, in the app, I think it only allows you to add one. I could be wrong. Test it. You can add as many beneficiaries as you like. Simply call client service if you can't do it through the app, and then you give them the percentage. So you've got 5 kids, you can go 20% each. Or this is my favorite kid, he gets 40, and then you divide the rest by, you know, you can do it. And can you do it in the app? There we go. So Bev says you can actually do it in the app. So you can have as many beneficiaries as you like, but remember, I need ID numbers, dates of birth, and contact numbers. Otherwise, I don't know who it is when they call in, okay? Fill all the details out. All right, good. And of course, your beneficiary doesn't have to be a family member. See, your dependent has to be a family member, but your beneficiary can be your cousin. When I die, I'm leaving my money to my cousin, and that's my friend, my cuz, you know. You can do that. A beneficiary, or your girlfriend. Exactly. You can. So you can your girlfriend can bury you, but you can't bury your girlfriend. Okay, no, it just depends on your product. It depends on your product, but yes, a beneficiary doesn't have to be a family member, but a dependent has to be a family member. That's why they're a dependent, if you know what I mean. Okay, but a beneficiary, you've heard of people, he died and he left. I got a guy, he makes the cupboards in my house, and his friend died and left him a Ferrari. I kid you not, left him a Ferrari. You know, so he drives like a Datsun, and the next day he pulls in his Ferrari. I'm like, the cabinetry business is going well. He's like, no, my lifetime friend, he's quite old, my lifetime friend died and he left me his Ferrari. So it's the same with insurance. If you die, you can leave your payment to anyone. But if you're covering dependents, then they must be family. Okay, all right. That was a good pickup, actually, and I failed to mention that, and so I'm glad we got that in the Q&A. All right, looks like there's no further questions. Can you see any other questions in there, Petunia, on this? I have, yeah?
There was one from Luca, I think.
Yes, yeah?
I don't know if you know, I'm married with the mother of my children.
Yes.
But we live together.
Yes.
Can she be my beneficiary?
Yes.
Or if she dies, can I get something? Let's say if I
No. So Lunga's got quite a good example here. I think it's quite common. You've got a girlfriend. She is the mother of your children. So let's look at that from funeral plan only. It changes with other ones, but funeral plan only. She is not family. You're going to have to get married, buddy. I'm sorry. It's time for Lobola. Start saving. Okay? For her to be a dependent on your plan. She can't come on. Okay? But your children can. Your children are your children. It's family. You know, you got their birth certificates. It doesn't matter who the mom was. They can be on the plan. Okay? But you can make her your beneficiary. So if you die, she can bury you. Do you see what I'm saying? You can make her your beneficiary. But if she dies, you don't get anything. Okay? So then take a different policy. Take a policy over her life. She can have her own funeral cover. Do you see what I'm saying? So you pay $2.99. She becomes the policy holder, and she makes you the beneficiary. Do you see what I'm saying? So they're always like, no, it must be on one plan. No. Take another plan. If you've got somebody that needs to be, that's not maybe a friend of yours, say, hey, buddy, I'm going to have to bury you. Take a funeral plan and make me the beneficiary. You see, because you're going to make your friend the beneficiary, but you can't put your friend on as a dependent. You see what I'm saying? So if you know you're going to have to bury your neighbor, you've been living next to each other for 50 years and you made a deal that you'd bury each other, then each of you take a funeral plan out and make each of you a beneficiary. Simple. No, exactly. Well, as Paul says in the Dew Point system, of course, the more products that are in your channel, the more you earn. So it actually makes sense for your friend to take another policy out because it's growing your income as well with us. Positive, huh? Positive. Well, exactly. And also, again, is it not demonstrative of how the insurers are trying to make sure everyone's covered and everyone's insured? We're trying. We are not the ones in. So don't accuse us of slowing the process down. Don't do that. We're not. Prepare in advance and be ready. Having done the education through the training videos and having educated your beneficiaries, you'll smooth this process right out. And it can be quick, like that. Okay. Let's see here. Brendan, if you add your kids, must you add your contact details? Yeah. If it's a minor, obviously, then contact details. Or if it's your kids on the funeral plan, yes, we'll be talking to you as the beneficiary, as the policy holder. But I guess if you're worried that maybe you might die and they left stranded, then maybe put some contact details in for their mother or a guardian. But that's a good point. That's a good point, yeah. The more details we have, the smoother the process. And if you can't do it through the app, client service, Monday to Friday. Give them a ring, send them an email, they'll sort it out. Our system can cater with just about anything. Okay. Lovely, guys. Now we know how to claim successfully. No problem, Paul. I hope that helps. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. You can go home.